Hey guys, Brian Coe here with Pure Gravel. We're with Kimo Seymour. He is the founder, the head honcho, the big cheese, whatever you want to call it, of Lifetime. And we are at the Lifetime Sea Otter Classic presented by Continental. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
And hosting. So first of all, for the people that don't know you, let's hear about your background and how you sort of came into this crazy sport.
You know, a recovering triathlete. I figured out one day, I was doing triathlons for years, and one day I realized that the best triathlon I ever did, I didn't have to swim or run. So I decided to switch to a mountain bike and started riding mountain bikes probably 15 years ago, and transitioned to gravel and anything. I know over the years it just, I made a personal passion starting about 8-9 years ago. I had a friend riding on the road that was hit by a car and killed, one of my closest friends, and maybe kind of decided it was a personal mission to get people to, off-road and, away from cars. And, it's just, we just can't compete with an 8,000-pound vehicle, driving down the road, and you're riding on, on a 15-pound bicycle, and
right.
Some guy's coming down the road with his cell phone in his hand and not paying attention, and probably, 99% not intentionally trying to hurt somebody, but it just happens. And so it's kind of, it's kind of spurred some of our movement to focus on getting people off road and away from those cars,
And now the technology of gravel has kept up with the desire, and you put two and two together, it makes for a perfect recipe.
Yeah, I'm riding a 15-pound gravel bike now. I never thought I'd see that day, but yeah, it's under 16 pounds.
Does it have brakes on it?
It has brakes. It has two brakes.
front and back.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So first of all, also, what is Lifetime for the people that don't know? It seems like it's ubiquitous nowadays because it's everywhere. What is the company mission of Lifetime?
It's pretty simple. We try to inspire people to live a healthy way of life, whatever that takes. So you said earlier, founder. I'm not the founder. Our founder was a guy named Bram McCrotty. I lead the events component of it. Mm-hmm. At our heart, we started out as a health club business, really, and they've become really resorts now. We have 160 plus athletic resorts across the country, and they're really big. They're kind of an offering for everybody that wants to figure out how to be healthy. Whether you're tennis, basketball, weightlifting, group fitness, yoga, Pilates, swimming, kids programming. We're super family oriented company. So it starts with the health, in the health club space, we've grown into the health resort space, and about 20 years ago, Bram had this idea that we need to give people an opportunity to kind of, get beyond the walls of the club, help them on their healthy way of life journey outside the walls of those clubs. And
right.
So we started doing some events here and there, family little fun runs and 5Ks and, Christmas runs and turkey trots and things, and then started doing triathlons, and now it's kind of evolved over the years. I joined Lifetime about 10 years ago, and we've, as the outdoor and endurance industry has evolved, we've evolved and been, fortunate enough to kind of get on the front end of this kind of gravel and mountain bike movement. Again, off-road, really focused. This is our only road racing that we do, and it's a closed road course. Here at Sea Otter, that's about as safe as you can get. If you take if you get hurt here, it's probably your fault, not someone driving a car. So, so that's been the evolution, and so it's really an opportunity to help people kind of really aspirational achieve their healthy way of life. Whatever their goals are, but beyond the walls of those clubs.
So cycling was never the original intent of Lifetime. Why the focus? Is it gravel specific or just cycling in general for Lifetime?
It's cycling in general, but as I said, I've really kind of made it a personal mission to focus, on getting people off road. So it really has kind of evolved to, a primary focus at off road. If you're familiar with our Lifetime Grand Prix, presented by Mazda. We're launching here at Sea Otter this weekend, the first of those 6 events, all off road. 3 what we're calling mountain bike events, 3 we're calling gravel events. But again, sole focus of getting people off road, and that's where, let's face it, in North America, that's where the growth in at least competitive cycling and mass participation cycling, it's off road. You're not seeing a lot of growth in off-road or in road cycling in the U.S. Outside of what's happening, in what some of the big teams are doing around crit racing. It's wonderful to see this resurgence of crit racing. The beauty of that is you've got closed courses as well.
Right.
So some of the teams that are behind that are doing a fantastic job. But we're really kind of putting our we think our expertise and where we've had some success is getting people riding on dirt.
So let's talk about the pointy end of a lot of the races for Lifetime. There's a cohort of 30 athletes that have been selected to be part of the series. What was the thought process behind getting sort of the fastest and best riders within that gravel group to be showcased?
The thought there was, as I mentioned earlier, road cycling and competitive road cycling in North America is kind of, let's just say it's been in decline. I mean, you can't deny it, right? And so races have kind of evaporated. All the big road races, big stage races, Tour of California, Tour of Utah, all the big ones have gone. Colorado Classic have kind of evaporated. And we looked at, we're a mass participation business, right? We our goal is to be, open, inclusive, bring in as many people and provide opportunities for people to participate in these events. But we feel that the front end of the race is an important component. And in professional cycling, we wanted to be supportive of professional cycling. And so we kind of put our heads together and thought, we've got this platform, we've got some pretty significant races on the calendar. We thought, why not create an opportunity to do something to get, something where the pros have an opportunity to make a living racing their bikes in North America. It's pretty challenging right now. There was a handful of privateers that are making it along the way here, but we thought, could we do something that we could, invite, it's actually 30 males and 30 females, so it's 60 athletes. And we thought, can we invite a few of the strongest athletes, create a competitive environment for them? It's not all of our focus, 99.9% of our athletes are not pros. It's the everyday athlete that wants
completers.
The completers, yeah, exactly.
So how does that cohort of pointy end athletes at the front sort of appeal or benefit to the masses?
I think it appealed. Our thought, we'll find out. We'll see how this series goes this year. But our thought is, one of the beauties of gravel and mountain biking is all the athletes are starting together. What other sport can everyday age group athletes line up right next to the pros at the start line and go out there and ride the exact same course, do the exact same thing the pros do, and then, by the way, when they get done, hang out and have a beer. We tell them all, we want you there at the end of the race. We want you hanging out, cheering on the last. If you come to Unbound, half the pros are back out there, cheering on the last athletes that are coming in the middle of the night, and that's, to us, that's just creating, it's making the pros accessible to the mass participation athletes, the completers. And I think if you give them an opportunity to just all kind of meld together, and the pros, they love it. They love getting to come hang out. They don't get to do that in Europe. So
they get on the team bus and go to the next hotel.
Exactly, and they're out of there. So we thought, create some connectivity and an opportunity for amateur athletes to connect with the pros and vice versa. And ultimately, our measure of success will be when sponsors start coming back to professional cycling that are non-endemic, right? We need the United Airlines and the Bank of Americas and the big, we need non-endemic brands to see that the masses are watching what's going on in cycling, right? Sponsorship's all about eyeballs. And if you don't have fans of cycling, the sponsors won't be there. You need, with the endemic dollars, it's the same endemic dollars getting spread around. It's fantastic that all the endemic brands put so much into supporting the pros and to supporting events, but there's only so many of those dollars to go around.
Right.
Until you start to get some of these big non-endemic sponsors like Mazda. They put their faith in and they got behind this. We haven't even done it yet, and they jump behind it because they see the hope is and the thought is we are going to have eyeballs watching what's going on with this series. it's a branding opportunity for them, and so we're hoping to bring more non-endemic sponsors back in to support cycling.
So what do you envision for the future? I mean, it's the first year, obviously, like first major year with this sort of model. Where do you see the future? If you could map out your ideal future for the sport and the series, what would that look like to you?
Well, I think the magic happens if we can create really kick-ass content that comes out of this series, and we're going to be trying to do that this year. Ultimately, to create fans of this, we have to put it in people's cell phones or in their living room or on their laptop. You've got to take it to them and give them an opportunity to become a fan, and that's what we're going to try and do with the series this year. If you can't make it accessible, let's be honest, nobody wants. It's not exciting to go out and watch a 200-mile gravel bike race in the middle of Kansas because you sit there for 8 hours and boom, there they go. And it's not. But if you can take and create stories around it and then put it in people's living rooms or on their cell phone and they watch it, I think that's what starts to create fans of the sport. Somebody needs to try it, so we're kind of hoping that it works.
All right, well, I want to get your personal picks of who you think is going to be on the top, either at this race or at the very end. Give me your sort of male, female.
Oh man, you know what? You can't do that to me. I can't do that because I want to be friends with all these athletes. I don't want to put one person. I got to be honest. I've been asked that a number of times the last couple days with the series just getting started.
Sure.
And there are so many variables, and maybe luck. I mean, fitness is certainly one of them, but luck has got to be one. When you think about the different, in such a varied skill set, they're going to ride almost 50 miles of single track and road here. Mm-hmm. They're going to go to a race like Unbound and have to ride 200 miles of gravel. Crusher and the Tusher, all gravel, 10,000 feet of climbing in 69 miles. It's going to be a climber's delight. Schwamigan, Leadville 100, right. Climb. You got to be a strong climber. You've got to be able to descend really.
Good breather.
A breather. You've got to be able to survive above 10,000 from 10 to 12,000 feet. Schwamigan is going to be a 40-mile drag race. It's going to be fast. It's just going to fly. And then Big Sugar, they've got to have some stamina to make it to the end of the year. So I can't tell you I have a prediction because it's just there's so many variables, and in the end it's going to be a lot of luck for those two individuals that end up on the top step.
All right.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Congratulations. Thank you so much for sitting down with us, and good luck to you this year.
Thank you.
And so stoked to be at Sea Otter 2022.
Thanks for coming. We're glad to have you here.